a second.
Thank you, Coralie. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm incredibly excited to be here. It's been a significant journey as we've sought to bring Circle and Circle stablecoins to the regulated context in Europe. The quick news, which I think you just heard, was that Circle is announcing that it has become licensed and approved to issue stablecoins under the Mica regulations. So USDC and EURC are now available under new EU stablecoin laws. And Circle is the first global stablecoin issuer to be compliant with Mica. Circle is now natively issuing both USDC and EURC to European users effective July 1st today. In my view, this is a major milestone in the development of what I call the internet financial system. One of the largest economic areas in the world, one of the largest economies, has now made stablecoins legal electronic money. And for us and how we think about this, we think that this represents the move into the mainstream phase of adoption of digital currency technology more broadly. And Europe is leading the way. It's a really gratifying evolution for the company. 11 years ago, we founded Circle with this vision that we could create a model for fully reserved fiat digital currency that could operate on open public blockchains, on open networks, and that in the same way that the internet had made communications and information publishing and data exchange free, instant, global, interoperable, that blockchains and digital currency would do the same for money. And at that time, 11 years ago, we realized and believed strongly that two critical things were necessary for that to happen. The first was the development of new technologies. 11 years ago, the technology of blockchains and digital currency was very, very early. We knew that we would need technologies that could scale to handle hundreds of millions or billions of users. We knew that we would need technology that would allow one to issue digital tokens and digital assets on these networks. And we knew that you would need the ability to have programmable money, the ability to have smart contracts. And that was really just kind of ideas on napkins 11 years ago. But the other thing that we knew was that for this to come to reality, to bring the world of full reserve fiat money to these open networks, we needed new laws. We needed new regulations. We needed laws and regulations that could acknowledge this new technology and how it would work. Now, Circle took the regulated path when we started the company. We became the first crypto company to be licensed as an electronic money transmission company through the entire US. We became the first crypto company to receive what's called the BIT license by Wall Street regulators in 2015, the first crypto company to have an electronic money issuer license in the UK in 2016. And we were constantly trying to work with regulators, with policymakers to acknowledge and accept this idea of full reserve digital currency on open internet networks as well. Now, at that time, early on, this was very niche. The ideas that we brought forward and the technology we built was very niche. There was a lot of hostility towards this. And the concept that today, one of the largest economic areas in the world with some of the strongest financial regulatory frameworks would be enshrining in law that stablecoins are legal electronic money was inconceivable 11 years ago. So 6 years ago, it actually became possible to realize our ideas. This idea of a kind of protocol for dollars on the internet, what we call the HTTP for money. And we found a regulatory pathway and worked with regulators in the United States to support the launch of USDC. And very quickly, USDC, as a dollar digital currency, achieved strong, what we say, product market fit. Developers were using it. It was growing and seeing adoption. Not long after that, you may remember, the largest internet company in the world by users, Facebook, announced through a white paper something called Libra, the Libra project. And that was also the idea of a global stablecoin. And they put forward this idea. And of course, there was an enormous government response. Governments around the world became hostile and concerned that this new kind of money issued by a large internet company could sweep over the world and create major challenges. Not long after both our original launch of USDC and these ideas coming from the largest technology company in the world, one of the largest, two major developments happened. And that was just 4 years ago, starting in 2020. The first was in response to this potential of this kind of global scale technology, the G20, the largest organized governments in the world, and the Financial Stability Board gathered to come up with a policy response, a way to define a regulatory framework for stablecoins. And they shortly thereafter agreed on a framework for regulating stablecoins. At the exact same time, we started to see major organic bottom-up growth in the organic adoption and traction for stablecoins such as USDC. We grew from 400 million USDC in circulation, 1,000x in 1 year, to 4 billion in circulation, another 1,000%, to 40 billion in circulation. And we saw explosive growth in on-chain finance, DeFi, blockchain wallets, payment transactions, and growth in this whole market. So while there was a white paper on the one hand, we were proving the operational reality of delivering this around the world. And in response to this G20 call to action, major governments began to move more aggressively on this. The United States, the EU, Singapore, Japan, and many, many other countries moved swiftly to establish policies with leadership from both the EU and the US pushing very hard for the rapid introduction of stablecoin regulation and crypto market regulation. Policy takes time. 2 years ago was when European institutions agreed to the principles of Mica, literally 2 years ago, almost to the day. And the same day that the Mica agreements had come together, we announced and launched EURC, a Euro stablecoin. And we also announced our intention, our full intention, to bring Circle's operations, the issuance of stablecoins, both dollar and euro, into compliance with this new Mica framework. And we committed to that path. And at that time, we looked at the different jurisdictions. We looked at the way in which this was being evaluated and grown in the European market. And we were very impressed with the French government's leadership in this whole area. The French government had proven through early innovation in regulation of digital assets, in crypto asset custody, in markets, and in other areas, even in areas like token issuance, it had proven that it could create clear policies for this industry. So we chose France. And shortly after made an announcement that we were choosing France as the home for Circle operations. So today, after some period of time of very hard work, we've become authorized as an e-money issuer by the ACPR in France and for availability of our stablecoins across the EU. And we are a Mica compliant e-money token issuer for both USDC and EURC. So Circle France is now home to the headquarters of our European regulated financial activity, and European customers can now directly access USDC and EURC through what we call Circle Mint in Circle Mint France. So in particular, USDC has become the first and only major global stablecoin and major global dollar stablecoin to be compliant and available under this new stablecoin regulatory regime in Europe. And we worked with French and US prudential regulators to clarify how both a stablecoin such as USDC could be issued out of both the United States and Europe while maintaining the complete, what we say, fungibility on blockchain networks. And this is a major breakthrough in both supporting the technical innovation of open global blockchain networks and having prudential regulation that can ensure that customers in unique and distinct markets are fully protected as well. So what does this mean for customers today? All USDC and EURC currently in circulation in Europe are officially Mica compliant. And with Circle now holding 100% of EURC reserves under a regulated French entity, and similarly holding the necessary reserves for European held USDC, and we're holding that within globally systemically important banks. All of the USDC held by Europeans remains fully fungible globally. Users can trade, transact, self-custody, and use this in DeFi with no changes. The USDC works as it always does. And for the vast majority of European users who purchase or hold or transact or sell USDC or EURC on an exchange or use it through other crypto asset service providers, nothing changes. You can continue to use those exactly as you would today. And now, in addition, effective immediately, right now, Circle's now issuing and redeeming USDC and EURC directly with major institutions in the European market through this Circle Mint France. And this includes exchanges, market makers, brokerages, consumer wallets, fintechs, payment institutions, banks, large enterprises who are able to, through our European regulated entity, issue and redeem both of these stablecoins. So stay tuned, of course, for broader ecosystem announcements. We expect many, as Circle is the only global issuer who's able to provide these stablecoins in a fully compliant manner today. So what is changing for these European customers and users is that Circle stablecoins are now under direct supervision of prudential regulations in Europe, as established by the EBA and as put into force through the ACPR here in France. Safety and soundness of reserves, full financial audits, prudential risk management at the firm level and at the operational level, stringent financial crimes, obligations, and significant amounts of ongoing reporting, including public reporting. So what do we see as the impact of this on both the global and the European digital asset markets? So the first is, if you haven't noticed, the industry broadly has been scrambling and speculating as to what will happen on June 30th with this kind of cliff. Will there be stablecoins? What will happen with the large established stablecoins? We have decidedly answered that question today. Now, there's a bigger shift in our view that this represents. We believe that with this set of launches today and with the establishment of Mica and the effectiveness of the Mica regime, that this is going to drive a much larger global market structure shift in digital asset markets. It is a market structure shift where all around the world, there will be global standards in terms of regulation. There'll be regulatory equivalence regimes where major countries, major markets will look to each other and their regulatory frameworks to establish what can be widely adopted global digital asset products. And Circle has built what it takes to do this. We've built the infrastructure, we've built the operations, we've built the risk management, we've built the treasury management infrastructure. We've built all of the necessary pieces to do this at scale and to work with every major government in the world as they bring on this regulation. And we see this today. The UK, the US, Hong Kong, Singapore, the UAE, and other major markets are all establishing stablecoin regulations that will go into force later this year, early next year, and through 2025. And so this is a major global market structure shift that is occurring, and Europe has led the way. So how do we think about the impact of this on Euro stablecoins, and maybe stablecoins more broadly as well? Our view is that this represents a major new phase for Euro digital currency. Euro stablecoins under this new regime provide that these kinds of digital currencies are legal electronic money in the European area. That is very significant. This technology allows these digital currencies to be legal electronic money that corporations, households, financial institutions, and others can use and safely use. It also establishes, through this regulatory framework, a competitive marketplace. Banks and e-money issuers can now compete to issue these kinds of digital currencies and can use these kinds of digital currencies across this entire market. That has not been clear, and it's not been the case until today. So within the broader EU financial sector, all of these types of firms, banks, fintechs, neobanks, payments companies, PSPs, all these kinds of companies can now use blockchain networks, Euro stablecoins as digital currency within the broader commerce and finance context. And we're seeing this already happening now. We're seeing banks wanting to move forward with this. We're seeing large enterprises, some of the largest European enterprises in the world, wanting to move forward using this technology. Major neobanks, major payments companies. It's finally a phase where this technology can be used widely in society. And this European milestone is a big part of that. So in this particular case, the establishment of a major new regulatory regime, one could argue the most comprehensive global regulatory regime in crypto, in digital assets, is that it's going to serve a dual purpose. The first is, of course, establishing this clear set of rules for the road, establishing the necessary protections for people to depend on this. But by establishing those rules of the road, it is going to open up the opportunity for people to take advantage of this technology innovation. So the dual mandate of both prudential supervision and responsible innovation become possible through such a system. And we believe, in fact, that this is a turning point. Today is a turning point in the development of the internet financial system. And I believe July 1st, 2024, it's an electoral moment, will also be remembered as a major moment. It will be remembered as a major moment in this development of the internet financial system. And in my mind, having worked in this field, in this industry, building this company for 11 years, today marks the end of the beginning stages of digital assets and the start of the mainstream growth and adoption phase of digital assets. And I think that Europe should be proud at this moment, as should France, who have been drivers and leaders of policy and regulation in this area for years, and whose work attracted leading global firms such as Circle to call France our European home. Thank you. Okay, so we have one more thing before we take some questions. I was going to actually invite up here our photographer, who does not work for Circle, but he's requiring payment, and so he's going to, using I believe this is a Coinbase wallet, his own wallet. He's going to take receipt of, I'll have to disclose, 1,400 euro. And in the first EURC transaction with these compliantly issued Euro stablecoins. So I'm going to bring up my wallet here. Okay. You can see there, he's got a QR code. I have EURC, and I'm going to send you 1,400. You can see 1,400. And all I have to do is scan his QR code. With the lighting correct, there we go. And confirm. Oh, Face ID, it's secure. And if you close this and refresh this,
Wait, 1 minute?
not even a minute, this should take just a few seconds.
Okay.
This should just, you lost the app. There we go.
Okay.
He doesn't trust me.
Which one is?
There we go.
This is it.
1,400 euros. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're going to welcome up Coralie.
I will just say a few words in French. First, to thank you, Jeremy, for the announcement. We wanted you to announce it.
Of course.
And I will switch to French, maybe to add a few operational, I would say, addition to this. Donc, à partir de aujourd'hui, les EURC et les USDC sont émis à partir de Paris, de notre bureau parisien, pas très loin d'ici. Donc, les USDC qui ont été émis auparavant et les EURC aussi sont éligibles et Mica compliant. Tout est 100% fongible. C'est vraiment quelque chose on s'est attaché à conserver. Et c'est ce qui nous a amené à vraiment discuter longuement aussi avec notre régulateur, avec l'IBA, pour garder cette fongibilité. Donc, toutes les réserves, on a beaucoup de questions là-dessus sur la complexité associée aux réserves. On a mis en fait en place un mécanisme de réserve qui permet à Paris aussi d'avoir le montant des réserves nécessaires pour gérer tout ce qui est USDC. Pour l'EURC, là, on est le seul émetteur d'EURC. À partir d'aujourd'hui, en fait, on a éteint la lumière, si on veut, aux US et allumé l'usine en France sur l'EURC, qui va émettre globalement à partir d'ici. Que vous dire de plus? On voulait aussi remercier nos partenaires dans ce long chemin. Premièrement, notre régulateur qui nous a vraiment accompagnés ardemment et depuis le début, on a eu affaire à une équipe qui était extrêmement éduquée en matière au niveau de l'industrie, avec des bonnes questions, des connexions à l'IBA également. Donc, notre régulateur, l'IBA, qui nous a toujours qui a accueilli à chaque fois notre demande de meeting avec beaucoup de sympathie. Et bien sûr, nos avocats, donc le cabinet Kramer, on a beaucoup travaillé sur l'USDC, De Gaulle Florence pour tout ce qu'on a fait depuis tout le début. Et puis nos partenaires bancaires, car sans les banques, eh bien, on n'est rien, même si on est dans l'économie, on va dire, nouvelle et digitale, on a quand même encore besoin des banques. Donc, on travaille avec Bank of New York, qui aujourd'hui a reçu les fonds pour les réserves. Donc, on a dû prouver la réception des fonds à la CPR pour avoir notre licence tout de suite pour dire qu'on avait la licence. Banking Circle à Luxembourg et Bank Frick au Liechtenstein. Donc, aussi beaucoup de besoins de partenaires bancaires dans ce domaine. Voilà, donc nous, c'est que le début. On ouvre les portes aujourd'hui avec l'équipe en France et on sera bien sûr ravis de répondre à vos questions en anglais ou en français. Non.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll happily take questions.
Yes.
So there is two kinds of USDC, one for Europa and another one.
So the question is, are there two kinds of USDC, one for Europe and one for other? No, there's one USDC. USDC is fungible, but we are issuing USDC both through Circle in the United States and through Circle in France. And a user has the same USDC, and we have established, working with the regulators here, a way to have a kind of dual issuance so that USDC can be issued from France. Users of USDC in Europe can redeem in Europe, and it is entirely the same USDC on the blockchain, the same protocols, the same digital tokens, and so forth. Yes.
From AFP, you mentioned some major companies you said which are getting interested. You have some examples you could give and in which please, international or American. The second question would be about the complex political times. Would you say that those funds were living, the stablecoins could be seen as a continue to have more stability?
So two questions. I'm repeating as well for recording. The first is about the sort of the major companies. So my reference is to there are major European companies. I cannot announce their brands here, but these include major banks. These include some of the largest neobanks and fintechs in the region. These include very large technology firms, insurance companies, so quite a few different kinds of major companies. But I can say already today, Circle stablecoins are being adopted and supported by major global firms, ranging from Visa and MasterCard to Stripe, to major companies like BlackRock, who are using it as part of their new tokenized fund products, other asset managers in other jurisdictions, leading banks like Nubank, the fastest growing fintech bank, I think, in the world, with 100 million users in Latin America. So we work with many very large international and regional companies today. But what we're seeing in particular is because of this introduction of Mica and the new regulations that will make this a kind of accepted legal electronic money, it's allowing many companies who could not really look at this before. They could not look at using stablecoins until now to really start to look at it for its efficiency, for the technical capabilities of the kind of smart contracts and these new things that are possible only with blockchain-based digital currency. I think the question about the political times is an interesting one. There's complex political times everywhere, everywhere. And I think my own view is that we have kind of seen over the past 10 years a kind of a reaction to the rapid economic and technological change that has happened over the preceding 20 years. The rise of globalization, the rise of technology changes has caused a lot of changes in society, and societies everywhere are dealing with this and reacting to this in different ways. And so this is a kind of natural phenomenon that I think comes in waves and comes around the world. No matter what your perspective is, it's a kind of reaction to these transformations. If you look through the birth of the Enlightenment and then early markets and various transformations through the past hundreds of years, even the past 100 years, you kind of see these kinds of technological economic changes becoming the basis for changes in the economic structure and changes in society. So I personally believe that blockchain networks, open blockchain networks, are a critical piece of infrastructure for the next decades, for the next 50 years. I think it creates a technology for organizing work and capital and markets and building trust, to build assurance and trust around data and around decisions made. So I think it's a very important kind of material that we have to work with, and will grow in importance in the political economy around the world. And you're starting to see people see this a little bit. But I think these technological forces are still accelerating. The artificial intelligence, blockchains, synthetic biology, quantum computing, many of these are accelerating. And so a society will have to adapt. So I think a technology that is built on this idea of open, transparent, trusted exchange of information and computation is an important part of how we deal with this. It's a good question. Thank you. Yes.
Right. If you get to significant stablecoins or not yet, with the This is a more deviation.
Yeah, the question was, does Circle currently qualify or as a significant stablecoin under the EU stablecoin rules? We do not currently. Patrick, do you want to speak to this? You want to come up? Maybe introduce yourself to the audience as well.
Happy to. Hi, everyone. My name is Patrick Hansen. I lead our regulatory strategy over here in the EU. Good to meet you all. To your question, so as Jeremy mentioned, we're currently not a significant stablecoin, neither USDC nor EURC. And actually, if you look at the different indicators, I think there are 7 in total in Mica. I think the important ones to zoom into are the quantitative ones, so the 3 first ones. And actually, the EU Commission, if you look at the delegated act that was supposed to specify those quantitative indicators, specified that for the market cap indicator, the volume indicator, the holder indicator, so the number of holders, you need to look at the numbers in the EU and the volume in the EU and not globally speaking. And so taking these clarifications into consideration, it is clear at this stage that USDC does not qualify as a significant EMT.
C'est concerning the bid in the EU, for the USDC or for the US.
Maybe repeat it, yeah.
Yeah, so the question was whether that is tied to the minting activity of USDC in the EU, not only the minting, but also the circulation. And so actually starting from, next year, when Mica enters into application also for CAS, crypto asset service providers, these players are mandated by Mica, by the law, to share some USDC-related numbers with us on adoption, on volume, on holdings, etc. And these are the numbers that we will then integrate into our monitoring and reporting to our own regulator, and that will be the basis of the assessment whether we will be deemed at some point significant or not. But looking at the numbers today, we're not significant.
Thank you. If you want to stay.
If another question, happy to
The policy wonk questions. They're very important questions.
Okay,
No more questions?
there are no more questions. Again, my name is Holly Maddox. For those of you who may have come in late, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you will stay and celebrate with us. We will have cocktails and some food will be out shortly. So please stay, and thank you so much for coming and joining and making choices to talk about Circle in your headlines. Thank you.
Thank you.